Back to the birthers. Well, Bernie Goldberg is going to go on the O'Reilly Factor, and he has a fascinating theory about who's at fault for the birthers. Well, you would think Republicans or conservatives, right? They're the ones who introduced the legislation in the House. Bill Posey, the Florida representative who introduced it, basically got a lecturing by the Orlando Sentinel today where they said, please withdraw your ridiculous bill on this. He's clearly a citizen, etc. And obviously the conservative talk show hosts are the ones keeping this alive and backing it. So it must be their fault. No, it turns out it's Obama's fault. Huh, interesting. Let's see how he spins it.
CNN should not, repeat, not fire Lou Dobbs for talking about this. Lou Dobbs didn't say Barack Obama wasn't born in the United States. He said just the opposite. He said he was born in the United States, but then he said he should produce his birth certificate. Now let's think about this for a second. Why wouldn't President Obama release his birth certificate? He was born in Hawaii. Hawaii, last I checked, is in the United States. And why in the world wouldn't he release his birth certificate? Question? Well, let me answer it first, okay?
Okay, you answer it, then I'll have the correct answer. Let me answer my own question first. I have a theory, and the theory is this, that the Chicago Mafia inside the White House want to keep this crazy controversy going, because the longer it goes, the better the chance that they will conflate the crazy right-wing fringe with regular conservatives and regular Republicans. That's not a bad theory.
Lou Dobbs is right to raise the question, why doesn't he release it? You may be right. My political analysis may be right, too, that they want to keep this thing going to make regular Republicans and regular conservatives look like a bunch of lunatics.
Okay, I mean...
Don't put that past the guys in the White House.
I didn't think of it, and it is a good possibility.
I love that logic. By showing people what we say, they show that we're lunatics, so it's their fault. Well, if you didn't say stupid things, then maybe they wouldn't have anything to play with, right? And no, they're not keeping it going. You're keeping it going. They're like, why don't you show the birth certificate? Because he has! He showed it to the press. He showed it to factcheck.org. They checked it over and over again. He has produced the birth certificate. But how about the long form and the medium form and the semi-medium long form? How come he hasn't produced those? It's not even his choice. It's the Hawaiian thing. Don't make me go back into this thing, okay? How much more can someone show their birth certificate? So I love Goldberg turns it around and says, no, it's Obama's fault for keeping it alive by showing people how crazy we really are. And he said it right there. Goldberg said, well, he should produce it too. Saying the same thing that Dobbs says, saying the same thing the conservative talk show hosts are saying. All right, so now there's a question of whether this has a racial component, right? And if you tell that to the conservatives, their heads blow up, right? But think about it. How come they never asked for Joe Biden's long form? I mean, this guy's vice president. He could be president of the United States. The same thing, right? So how come nobody ever asked for his birth certificate? Remember all the things they did to Bill Clinton? I mean, they went after his cat, literally, his Christmas card list, etc. We've talked about this. They went after every nook and cranny, as you all know. But they never asked about his birth certificate. Why not? Could it be that Joe Biden's a white guy from Delaware, Bill Clinton's a white guy from Arkansas, so it never occurred to them to ask about their birth certificate? So why did it occur to them to ask about Barack Obama's birth certificate? Could it be because he's a black guy from Hawaii? Hawaii's a little questionable. It's not Arkansas, right? And look, I get it. His father's from Kenya, so that makes it more of an issue. And whether he was, you would think, from Germany or Kenya, you'd have the same issue. Ireland or Kenya, you'd have the same issue. Yeah, not so sure. But does it have a little bit of a racial component where you say, you know what? Is this guy really an American? Because that's what they're driving at. Look, it's a really fair question. And if you think in your heart of hearts, no, it does not have a racial component, it's just because his dad's from Kenya, I think that's a perfectly legitimate opinion to have. And that makes sense. It's fine. If you ask me, I think that there's a little tinge of that because the lady who got up in that town hall that we showed you about and screamed, this is my country. I want my country back. Now, why isn't Obama part of our country? I mean, come on. I don't want to say it's obvious. I don't think it's obvious. But I see it. And I'm not saying it's the only thing. I'm not saying it's the only factor. I'm not saying that's the only reason why they're doing it. And maybe I'm being too soft here, but I think that it's fair to say that they're asking the dude because he's biracial and he's from Hawaii, and that it never even occurred to them to ask anyone white from the middle of the country whether they had a birth certificate or not.
If you like this clip, you'll love the whole show. You can watch that at theyoungturks.com.